Yeah. Okay. So I am live. I guess I'll wait a few minutes here before people start showing up. Um, the reason I'm live is because I'm really getting sick of being demonetized, talking about Tulsi Gabbard. If we're ever going to break through, if the political establishment that we're doing battle against, if we're ever going to really get a foothold, then we're going to need to work together. And it's frustrating. I have this music channel that I do, and revenue is obviously down over there during the summer months. People are off on vacation, although where I'm at, kids are going back to school today. And that typically signals that summer is coming to an end, depending on what part of the country you're in. Uh, I'm just a guy who recognized that, neither side has all of the answers. And I saw this candidate and I said to myself, she's different. Uh, she's sincere. I mean, how many more ways can I continue just to talk about the difference between her and what I've seen over the span of my lifetime? I mean, I've lived through Bill Clinton. I've lived through George W. Bush, who couldn't put a sentence together. And we were all told how great it is and how awesome it is. And we need to just stick with the program here and, be, what's the word? Just conform. Okay, now if you're a Democrat today, you're supposed to conform. You're supposed to think that the biggest thing that we've got to do as human beings right now is to remove Donald Trump from the Oval Office. We can't physically do it. We can't stage a military coup. So what we're going to do is wait until 2020, which, by the way, is the correct thing to do. And we're going to vote in someone else. Now, that's fine. But voting in someone else isn't enough. You've got to vote in someone who actually has my interests, your interests at heart. Who are those people? Well, from my vantage point, it's number one is Tulsi Gabbard. Number two is Bernie Sanders. Now, if I do a video and I put in the title, for instance, Tulsi Gabbard's campaign is on fire, not literally on fire. And, people sent me messages. Well, those are trigger words. And you can't use trigger words when you do videos. And you're going to get flagged. Well, here's the thing. After you manually review the video and find out that I'm not advocating for actual fire, I'm not talking about, torching something, then you say, oh, well, this guy was using a figure of speech, meaning, Tulsi's campaign is red hot and it's doing well and people are interested. Folks, I know people are talking about like Jeffrey Epstein right now, about all the conspiracies surrounding that. But from the day this woman decided to run for president, Tulsi Gabbard, from that day forward, people have, in the media, have used these talking points. It's almost laughable how they're not intellectually curious about real issues. Like, do they go home at night and go, well, that Russian conspiracy stuff, that seems to work really good. Let's just keep using that. Let's use it on Tulsi. I've even heard a little bit. See, this is why I think Bernie plays both sides of the fence. Because maybe Bernie thinks if I placate some of these people, maybe they'll leave me alone. But they're not going to. In the long run, if Bernie becomes the nominee for the Democrats, holy crap, the knives are going to come out. I mean, they're just hoping Bernie goes away. They're hoping that Tulsi goes away. They're hoping, I've read all these articles over the weekend. Well, the upstart candidacy of Tulsi Gabbard, is interesting, but she doesn't have a snowball's chance. And they're giving her a primary challenger in Hawaii, and the former governor there. I think this was in the Politico piece that I actually read on air. The former governor basically saying, yeah, we need to get rid of her and she's bad news and so forth. And it's like, what? What are you talking about? It's almost as if they're not seeing the same person. When you listen to her speak, she won both debates, by the way. She won debate number 1, and they're saying, well, her second debate performance was better than her first. But guess what? She won them both. That's how bad the candidates you had up on stage are. That's how bad they are. Tulsi Gabbard. And I'm not saying that shows you that anybody can win. It shows you that Tulsi Gabbard focuses on a couple of things which aren't really in vogue in the Democratic Party right now. Service before self. That's number 1. And also this idea that she'd like to have all voters consider her, not just the narrow sliver of borderline anarchists who are trolling Twitter all day long. Because that's why I am no longer at Gabbard Rocks over there. That's why I am not the Tulsi Gabbard channel anymore, because I didn't want to drag Tulsi's name through that and say, oh, this guy's a Tulsi person and he's out there arguing. I didn't want to lose voters for Tulsi. And I wanted to rebrand and also be true to what the channel is really about, which is it's radically independent. It's not beholden to the left or the right. Again, there are some progressive ideas that I think are fantastic ideas. And on the other side of the coin, I think there are some crazy ideas that the left has that need to be thought through. I mean, and I'll just give you one example. All right. Borders. You need to have a border. Okay. As far as border security, you need to have border security. We've had border security and now we've got chaos. And we've got chaos because it's been politicized so much. And for all the people who were and still are worried that people are coming into this country and we don't know who they are. All right. It's again, inviting someone into your house and you don't know who they are. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying I'm a balanced offender. If I'm going to offend one side, I'm going to offend another side. And if I see something stupid, I'm going to call it out. Now, right now, what I see that is most stupid is this platform. And you can demonetize. I'm 2 for 2 today on demonetization. I'm 2 for 2. Now, a lot of people think, well, Dave, just do it for free. You're a good guy. Just go out there. Yeah, about that. I have this music channel and that is my main revenue source. And every time I come over here, and believe it or not, the day goes by really fast. You would think that this isn't, quote unquote, a real job. Well, think again. It takes time and it takes energy and planning and so forth. And sometimes even it physically can be taxing. I mean, there are videos where I've done multiple takes and so forth. So, I'm hoping that, I can be a partner with this platform, but they are not playing nice right now. And believe me, I don't know who's getting monetized out there, who is using a lot of profanity, who is talking about, salacious crap or making crazy insinuations about people and so forth. There are a lot of channels on here that are very suspect. And this shouldn't be one of them. We are promoting a candidate who is for peace, a peaceful candidate. Yeah, Ron Paul was out there a few years ago, but Tulsi Gabbard is far more unique in that she comes from a left progressive area, but yet she's okay with the military. She's okay in some cases with using some type of force when necessary. But overall, she wants to rein the military industrial complex in. She's the only one consistently using language like that out there. Bernie Sanders a little bit too. Bernie, by the way, on Joe Rogan was fantastic. And Joe Rogan right now, if the world were honest and everything was everyone was being truthful, Joe Rogan right now is probably one of the most influential people in media. And the fact that Bernie Sanders could go on there, and Tulsi went on there too, and completely hit it out of the park. They were both great on Joe Rogan because they were both themselves. They were both naturally good communicators. And more importantly, they had convincing arguments for their message. Now, here on YouTube, apparently, it's not cool to have a convincing argument. It's not cool to speak truth to power. It's not cool to go against the prevailing narrative. When you do a search, apparently, you're only supposed to search for like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, or however you say his name. You're supposed to search for their candidates, not for our candidates. So it's Tulsi Gabbard, Bernie Sanders. They've both taken the DNC pledge. I'm not happy, people. I'm a radical independent. I'm ready. And this is weird, and don't take this the wrong way, but I'm ready to start doing something else. I just give me the cue as to when, because if this is all just for show, and at the end of it all, Tulsi's got to give her money to the DNC, and then she's going to have to endorse somebody that we all really dislike. I've wasted time. I could have started a movement and started talking about a Green Party candidate or a Libertarian candidate, somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else. But I'm going to hang in there. I'm going to hang in there mainly because of Tulsi and her supporters. These are really nice people, in both parties. In other words, the people that Tulsi has working for her and her supporters who aren't into identity politics, who understand that it's okay to have people from different political views and backgrounds getting involved in a campaign, and it's not some sort of weird purity test. It's something new. This is something fresh and different. And the Bernie people, the sooner they wake up to this and stop, because you go on Twitter and you see some of the things that the Bernie people retweet and stuff, you're like, yeah, you got to break out of that tribalist, he's our guy, and you're not qualified to be a Bernie supporter. I guess if you just said, well, I support Bernie, and I won't talk about anything else. I'll just shut up. I support Bernie. Even though, I used to be I used to be a Trump person, used to be a deplorable. Well, guess what? There are deplorables who support Tulsi, Bernie, and Trump. All right. The difference is that Tulsi and Bernie would bring a level of civility back to politics that we really need right now. Tulsi more so than Bernie, and that's why I am a Tulsi person. I am a Tulsi-crat. So to wrap this video up, folks, if you could help me out, again, and I'm not asking you to give your fortune over to me, but I think I'll be 3 for 3 today in the demonetization area. By the way, I had one really big donation earlier today, and I'm not going to publicly say the person's name, but it was really generous, and it happens every so often, and it keeps me going. Quite honestly, it keeps me going because I'm just a guy. I'm just throwing this out there, and if people like the content, they watch it. They need some type of moral support. Like there's somebody else out there who thinks like me. You know what I mean? You go through life and you meet people. Wow, they think like me. Amazing. I thought I was the only one. And you get you meet that person, whether in a grocery store, you go to a bar or something, you have a beer, and you're like, you think that too, huh? And I can find common ground with conservatives, with progressives. I can find that common ground, and we can have a conversation. We can talk about the corruption in the banking system. We can talk about how those banks shouldn't have been bailed out, and the people who owned the houses should have been bailed out. There are things that we can agree on. There is an intersectionality where the left and the right, they go far away, but then down here, they're not too far apart again. You know what I mean? It's that whole concept where both the left and the right, many who are truly believing in something, are now feeling as though they don't count. That you have to be in this middle zone where it's just an oligarchy. On the right, they call it globalism. On the left, they call it an oligarchy. It's the same thing. It's the same. You just pick a name. It's the same thing. So in any event, folks, I appreciate your support here on this channel. We got a few folks in the chat, which is kind of cool. I don't typically go live, but today I just felt like I had to talk about what's happening with the channel. The channel is under siege right now. The channel is under attack. And it's nothing that other YouTubers aren't facing. It's just that I have, if I had 100,000 or 200,000 or 500,000 subscribers, and that's not going to happen anytime soon, you are treated a little differently from what I've heard, So I am here basically to be like the average guy who says, Tulsi Gabbard, Bernie Sanders. And if that doesn't work out, then a peaceful revolution begins. All right. That's if that doesn't work out. All right. So again, thanks for tuning in. I am about to end the stream. And if you can, I will, in the description box here again, I will put, you can see it in pretty much every video now, the email tied to my PayPal account. Also up on the right-hand part of the banner of the channel, there's a Patreon link that will take you over to my music channel, where you can also become a patron. And I will probably send you a message saying, are you a music person or a Tulsi person? Because I never know. I never know who I'm getting over there. But I appreciate so much the people who come over here and watch the videos. I appreciate the people who have donated just out of nowhere on PayPal. And I know things are tough out there for a lot of folks. So if you're giving your money to me, that's pretty cool. Keep in mind, folks, this is bigger than me. It's bigger than even Tulsi Gabbard. It's our country. And if we're going to have any kind of unity in the future, you need a candidate that can bring people together. And that is Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard is it. And she would bring people together, and she would win in a landslide. And I did a video on this a long time ago, but she would win in a landslide over Donald Trump. I made a video being a little tongue-in-cheek, a little facetious, that she could win all 50 states. She would win in such an electoral landslide, it might be a record. It might, I'll put that out there. I know what Reagan won, like 49 states. So I think Tulsi has the potential to win over 40 states. But the question is, how do you get her to be the nominee? Bernie, by the way, right now, they're polling this polling data that says Bernie Sanders would beat Donald Trump in the state of Texas right now. It shows you that people they're done. They're done with the two-party paradigm. They're done with the establishment. They want a few crumbs to fall off the table to their family or whatever, to their kid who's struggling under student loan debt, who's probably still living at home, who needs help, and who found a job, but it's not paying enough money to pay down the debt that they've got. The whole thing was a scam from the get-go. But you could talk about the whole college fraud, and that would be a video in and of itself. All All right, I'm done, people. I'm ending the stream. Thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate your support.